Hello everybody and welcome back to our channel, How We Moved the Decimal. In today's video, I am talking about listing and I am talking about GoDaddy while I list 10 items. Now we're going to get a bunch of videos in a row of me listing 10 items because that's where I am in the cycle of my listing. Like I've said in other videos, I will list by taking all of the photographs first. Well, the beginning of the process, I guess, is I will shop and buy them. I will clean them, launder them, whatever needs to be done. I know this is a great debate among resellers. Do you wash, to not to wash? I do wash. I've talked to people that work at our local thrift stores. They do not wash before they go out. There's no guarantee that people washed before they donated. I know that if you buy used clothes, you should wash the clothes before you wear it, but quite frankly, some people don't. So I just like to wash. I know the whole, what if they're allergic to this laundry detergent? What if that? What if blah, blah, blah? I think they would rather have clean clothes that they can, again, wash on their own if they are allergic to these things versus dirty clothes that they also then have to wash. I will say I do not use heavily scented laundry detergent. I tend to use like clean and clear, like allergy sensitive laundry detergent when I do wash these things. And I do take that off as a business expense on my taxes. I make sure when I buy it, it's easier for me just to buy the laundry detergent separately. So I will have a separate receipt for that. And anytime I have to buy it new, I will then add the receipts to my end of the year accounting. So hopefully that helps with that. But I do that. I wash all of the clothes. So if you ever buy clothes from me, I have washed it first. And I tend to wash it with whatever the store brand of like sensitive is. I do not buy, I'm not buying Tide sensitive or like Deft or anything like that. But I will buy like, sometimes I buy Purex, sometimes I buy All, sometimes I buy whatever the Walmart brand is or Aldi brand is or Sam's brand, wherever I'm happening to be at, that's what I would buy. But I do put it on a separate receipt because it makes my life easier. This video, I'm going to talk a little bit about end of the year accounting. I know I do a lot of fiscal year stuff, even though when we file taxes, we file it on a calendar year, not a fiscal year. But I like to think of the fiscal year as a good time. It's about halfway between where I want to make a quick inventory of things. I want to make sure nothing has dropped off on eBay, and then I will also do it again at the end of the calendar year, but I really like to take the fiscal year into account. So I will go through, I will make sure all my listings are in tubs, I will make sure nothing has been damaged in my storage of it over the year. I will also decide, maybe this isn't worth it, maybe it's too out of fashion now, maybe I just don't want to sell this anymore. Maybe I'm sick of looking at that. And I will do that now because it is a perfect time for us to then have a rummage sale at the end of July and clear some of that out and give us some capital to use when buying inventory. And I do in bookkeeping, I do all of our bookkeeping. In bookkeeping, I will put in my earnings from my rummage sale. I know that a lot of people don't. I'm not the IRS. I'm not going to come after you if you don't, but I feel better doing it myself. I want to cross all my T's. I want to dot all my I's. I don't want anything to come back on me. So I will put in, income from rummage sale, but then usually it goes right back out. Like I said in the previous video, all of the earnings we get from the rummage sale, we'd like to invest it right back into inventory because we are getting rid of inventory. A lot of times that means we will travel 2.5 hours to the closest Goodwill outlet and spend it there. And it's an easy shot. We get more bang for a buck, so to speak. We are like neck deep in garage sale season. Unfortunately for us, we missed a lot of the community rummage sales because we are on vacation. I know, first world problems. So I didn't really hit those. I hit a couple this weekend and they were just depressing. The prices were entirely too high. And I know they're going to end up having to donate a lot of the stuff. Even stuff that I was buying for my own personal use or for my children's personal use, it was just too high. I could not justify spending $10 on a pair of used jeans. Granted, I know inflation is going up and it's going to get higher and harder to buy jeans for my children. but I can't justify spending $10 on used jeans at a rummage sale as I'm listing used jeans for $15.99 on eBay. But I just think there's a difference. There's a premium. I don't know. Yeah, but I didn't even buy anything for my own personal use at any of the rummage sales I went to. I walked away empty-handed. I usually pity buy something, like I'll feel bad for somebody and buy something. We've ended up with a lot of weird stuffed animals and candles and knickknacks and stuff because of that, but I couldn't even pity buy. It was just bad. It was bad. I have not been back to my thrift stores since I was shopping for adult prom, which was like in February. So I'm going to be running out of inventory. Not anytime soon. I could probably, theoretically, and in all honesty, I could probably make it to the beginning of October without having to get any new inventory. But I do like taking the end of June, beginning of July, the fiscal year mark. I like doing a check-in there. I will say I've never made enough that I've had to pay quarterly taxes. If you do make a lot, you do have to pay quarterly taxes. The only times I've made so much that it was a difference, like where I got dinged for not paying it, I think I only had to pay a $4 penalty. So it's not worth it for me to try to figure it out and do everything. Granted, this might change next year because one of the main things I wanted to talk about in this video is GoDaddy bookkeeping. GoDaddy has decided as of last week, GoDaddy bookkeeping no longer exists. They made a deal with QuickBooks and they wanted us to migrate all of our stuff to QuickBooks. I will say I did that. I used their deal. I migrated all my stuff. I do not like QuickBooks. It is not user-friendly. I'm not a large business. This is very small. I am not making that much money. I do not have to do payroll for anybody. I don't have to do a 1099 for anybody. I don't have to keep track of vendors, none of that. So most of it was wasted on me. And I could not get my eBay to import. Maybe some of you have figured it out. I could not do it. I downloaded the app. I set everything up. I kept getting an error. It was not migrating any of my sales. It did migrate all my stuff from GoDaddy, so I had all my stuff up until June 1st. Didn't have anything after that. And I kept getting an app error, and they kept emailing me app error. And then eventually I got an email saying I was going to have to pay for a QuickBooks expert to help me migrate all of my stuff over. And I was not willing to pay for a QuickBooks expert. Now, I researched a lot of the free accounting software and I went back and forth on it. But if I'm going to have to manually enter the stuff myself, I might as well not pay for it. And that was the solution that the QuickBooks gave me without hiring an expert, was to manually enter it all myself. Pain in the butt. But again, I'm not that large of a business. If I actually disciplined myself, sat down and entered all my sales and all my expenses every week, I don't think it'd be a big deal. Granted, right now though, I have 6+ months of stuff to enter, and that will be a little crazy because we had a really good sales month in February. So my invoice from eBay in February is like 16 pages long, and I have to go through and enter in all of that, and then go through and enter in all of my expenses. So I downloaded QuickBooks, epic failure. I actually canceled my QuickBooks subscription after the first month. So I have the month, I think it ends like July 16th or something, but I went ahead and canceled it because it just wasn't working. I did not like the layout. I did not like the format. I was incredibly spoiled by GoDaddy bookkeeping. I know this. But when I did do the QuickBooks, I also did one of the free softwares called Wave. And I was able to get my eBay to integrate with Wave, but it only integrated the sales. So I would have to go through and enter like shipping expenses, shipping fee or item fees on eBay. It just entered the money coming in, but it was doing something. And I'm like, well, it's doing something more than QuickBooks is, and it's free. Now, It's not going to give me all the forms that GoDaddy gave me for tax time, so I'm going to have to manually enter it in on my taxes because, surprise, I also do all of our taxes. So I'm going to have to manually enter it into the tax form. It does tell me where to enter it on the tax form, which is nice, but that's also another pain. Super spoiled by GoDaddy, super disappointed in QuickBooks. I know other people love QuickBooks. They use it to track inventory and all of that. I just use an Excel spreadsheet. I find it simple. I'm going to try to get my 12-year-old to make me an algorithm and make some stuff automated because he's a computer genius and I know nothing. I can do Excel spreadsheets, I guess. I should put that on like job applications. Can do Excel spreadsheets. But I do the bookkeeping, I do inventory, do mainly photographing and listing. My husband does list some stuff and he does help with inventory, but a lot of it falls on me, especially taxes and bookkeeping. And I knew it was going to be what I could do, and I could not do QuickBooks. And I think you guys should look into that when they are trying to do all this. I want you to like look at it and be like, will it work? Will it not work? So here's a funny thing about this vintage snapback hat, and I just realized I misspelled vintage and I need to go through and fix my eBay listing. But this vintage snapback hat is signed by somebody and I have no idea. It's a race car driver that signed it, but the history of this is my father won this in the mid-90s and I don't know who signed it. And unfortunately, my father passed away in 2005, and my mom was going through and cleaning out one of the spare bedrooms in my childhood home, and she's like, hey, go ahead and sell this. I don't have any sentimental attachment to it. Your dad just won it. I had no sentimental attachment to it. I have no idea who signed this, and I'm selling this as I have no idea who signed it. I'm selling it as race memorabilia. You figure it out, so to speak. But I'm also putting it in the listing. This hat is signed. It's from the 90s. No idea who signed it. So maybe it'll just sell as a vintage Bud Light King of Beers hat. Who knows? Maybe that'll work. When I say I'm willing to sell just about anything, I'm willing to sell just about anything. But I was honest in the description. I didn't try to make up who signed it. I tried. Not hard, but I probably researched for about an hour and I could not figure out who signed this hat. But I decided to list it anyway. I have photographs of the signature. Maybe somebody knows. Would it sell more with the signature? Probably. No idea. And I know who his favorite drivers were, but I don't think it was any of them because I don't think any of them drove Bud Light cars. So I don't know. If anybody has any suggestions on who drove a Bud Light car in the mid-90s and signed red hats, let me know. But back to what I was talking about with GoDaddy and QuickBooks. Everybody loves QuickBooks. I don't love QuickBooks. If you don't love QuickBooks, that's okay. We can be friends. It's not working for me. I do like Wave. It's a little more user-friendly than QuickBooks was. QuickBooks scared me with all the things I don't use. Now, if you need payroll, if you need vendor inventory, maybe QuickBooks is for you. I don't need that, and I don't need them to keep track of my inventory for me. I do that on my own. And in fact, I wasn't even going to use QuickBooks for that because I looked at how QuickBooks does it, and it was way too different than how I did it. And when you have a routine, you don't want to change that routine just because you changed software. I know I'm sounding super judgmental about technology, but everything's so time consuming. I downloaded all of my eBay invoices for every month. I have not downloaded for June because I was trying to do it 30 days at 1 month at a time. So May 1st to May 31st, April 1st to April 30th. And I'll go back through when I have time to do that. I guess good thing I got fired from one of my jobs because I'm going to become essentially full-time bookkeeper for our eBay business. Now, this may scare more people away. Everyone's talking about eBay having to pay taxes next year. on your eBay sales. I've always paid taxes on our eBay sales. Like I said, I even report rummage sale earnings because I am that scared of like being audited. So that's not going to scare me away. This bookkeeping stuff could scare me away if it's incredibly difficult. This will be our trial year. If it's incredibly difficult this year, it may not be worth it for me time-wise, because your time is money. It may not be worth it for me time-wise to sit down and do everything, not just inventory, but all of the bookkeeping manually by hand. It just may not be worth it. That's something we have to calculate on. But I think I'll be sad if I'm not, because I like to buy stuff. And if I buy stuff and not sell it, I become a hoarder, and I don't want to become a hoarder. So thank you for watching my video, and please tune in to the next ones.